25 AD. Under Roman oppression, a great reform of Judaism began under John the Baptist, who was preparing the way. Within a few years, everything changes when Jesus the Christ arrives as that way. He brings new meaning to old teaching. The external temple becomes the temple within. The law on stone becomes the law on the heart. The yearly sacrifices are completed in the once-for-all sacrifice. The kingdom of God is now open to whosoever believes. The first 3 centuries. Catholicism, that is a universal Christian doctrine, battles Greek philosophy in a return to Jewish tradition. Its followers endure manipulation, persecution, and the faith is driven underground. The next 3 centuries. The Church goes from an underground to a Christian empire. Under Constantine, the Roman Catholic Church is born. In its seats of power, it formulates faith for the masses. Those who have no desire for palace courts seek grace in the wilderness as hermits. The next 3 centuries, the Middle Ages. Mystical piety flourishes under the protection of Christian emperors. Under a crumbling Roman Empire, the Byzantine East finally falls, and the center for Eastern Orthodoxy moves from Constantinople to Moscow. In the West, the German Huns shatter Rome, and people turn to Augustine's City of God for explanations. There's a new vision for medieval times, where the role of the Pope rebuilds the Church from the ruins of old Rome. Europe becomes a Christian empire, and the papacy reaches the zenith of its power. There are the Crusades against Islam and the rise of scholastic philosophy in the Church. But with the affluence comes corruption, and historians say Christianity had gained the world but lost its soul. In response, there's a steady stream of reformers, such as the Waldenses and the Franciscans. In the spiritual barrenness of the 14th and 15th century, many turn to the Bible for a fresh vision. Then the next 2 centuries, the mid-1500s to 1600s. The Church was changed forever through Martin Luther and the rise of the Great Reformation. Protestantism is born. Lutheran, Reformed, Anglican, and the Anabaptist churches spread. By the end of the mid-1600s, the Reformation had shattered the old unity of Europe. The Roman Church resisted by waging war in Europe and sending missionaries to the rest of the world. In the end, the concept of church as an all-encompassing enforced religion gave way to denominations and voluntary communities of believers. The mid-1600s to the late 1700s, the age of reason and revival. Novel schools of thought sprung up. The new God was human reason. Who needs God when we can think for ourselves? Secularism became firmly entrenched. Christianity became a matter of personal choice. The result was a series of evangelical revivals, Pietism, Methodism, and the Great Awakening. The spread of Christianity was now by preaching and personal conversions. It was the dawn of evangelicalism. The late 1800s to 1990, the age of ideologies. Human ideologies became the new gods. Nazism, communism, and American democracy, which revered individual rights above all else. The 20th century has seen 2 world wars where the ideologies of nations battled for supremacy. A Cold War of coexistence settled upon the once Christian nations. Denominations struggled over orthodox and liberal theologies. Christianity sought new ways to recover the lost unity and hungered for the genuine biblical experience. After World War II, a revitalized Christian leadership emerged in the Third World, offering fresh hope in an old faith. The work of missionaries from previous generations, serving in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, was now bearing fruit. New nations blossom as the old centers of Christianity, North America and Europe, continue their slide into neo-paganism.